Episode number 849, The Intangibles of BNI.
You're listening to the official BNI podcast with BNI founder and Chief Visionary Officer, Dr. Ivan Misner. Stay tuned for networking and referral marketing tips from the man who's been called the father of modern networking, along with suggestions and insights into getting the most from your membership in the world's largest networking organization, BNI.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the official BNI podcast. I'm Priscilla Rice, and I'm coming to you from Live Oak Recording Studio in Berkeley, California, and I'm joined on the phone today by the founder and the Chief Visionary Officer of BNI, Dr. Ivan Misner. Hello, Ivan. How are you, and where are you?
Oh, I'm having fun this week in Napa Valley. It's one of my happy places to go. I love the wineries there.
Oh, great. Okay, that's my part of the world.
It is. Yeah, it's a great part.
And who do you have with us today?
I have a guest today, Dr. Ben Reebs. He's an award-winning naturopathic physician. He's founder of the Portland Clinic of Natural Health and the author of The Serpent and the Butterfly, The 7 Laws of Healing. He's recognized as a leading world expert using integrative medicine to treat complex chronic disease. He's been a member of BNI for 7 years. He holds the Power of One, is a Gold Club member, and proudly holds the naturopathic doctor seat in the largest chapter that's ever existed on the West Coast, Portland Business Advantage. And he currently lives in Portland with his wife, Maria, and 2-year-old son, River. Dr. Reebs, Ben, it's really nice to have you on BNI Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Ivan. It's an honor to be here.
Well, I love your topic. I think it's great. It is about the intangibles of BNI. So what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so, we joined BNI for the tangibles, for the referrals, the thank you for closed business, to grow our business. And we've all heard that our network is our net worth. And that, we know that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And what I've found in being in BNI now for 7 years is that, we come for the tangibles, but in my opinion, it's the intangibles that are equally important, if not more important, and keep us around. And the benefits of the intangibles can really be experienced the larger a chapter is and the more diverse the business, professional classifications are in the group.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, I didn't say this after the bio, but I'm a big believer in natural medicine. So it's great to have you as part of the organization. Our surveys show what you're describing is exactly the case. People join for the referrals, but they stay for the referrals and the relationships. So both are really important. So there are 5 different things that you wanted to talk about. One is strategic advice. You want to discuss that?
Yeah, so strategic advice as a revenue enhancer. I think it was last year I was meeting with the bankruptcy attorney in my group, and he's done about 40,000 bankruptcies, more than any attorney in the state of Oregon. And he said, Ben, I think you qualify for the employee retention credit, the ERC. And I said, no, my CPA told me I don't qualify. And he said, well, you're a medical provider and you had employees in 2020 and 2021. You might want to look into that. And we were just having a one-to-one. And so I looked into it. It took me about 10 minutes to, apply. And 3 months later, I got like $20,000 or more in checks from the IRS. So strategic advice really can make a difference in BNI.
That's incredible. That's an amazing story and very impressive. And you're right. It's not just the referrals. Sometimes the advice can increase your business in some way or another, or provide value like he did. All right, talk about financial leverage.
Yeah, so a few years ago, I had a lease to buy agreement with my landlord, and it came time I was ready to purchase my commercial property for my clinic, and I needed financing. And so I went to the small business banker in my group, and he referred me to an SBA specializing bank in San Diego, and they got me incredible terms with only 10% down, about 6% interest. And it was a $500,000 loan. And I also qualified for the CARES Relief Act. And so I got my first 3 mortgages covered. And this was all just through a BNI referral that wasn't technically for thank you for closed business.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, I had a similar story with one of my BNI offices. One of the very first ones, I got an SBA loan, and it allowed us to grow.
Amazing.
Talk about the cost savings through
Yeah, so
referral.
this one's my favorite. It was probably 4 or 5 years ago. I was having a one-to-one with a computer repair tech in my group, and he said, Ben, I just made a house call and fixed a woman's computer. She happens to be a medical biller, and she's looking for business. Could I connect her with you?" And I said, "Well, I just so happen to be looking for a medical biller because I'm not very happy with the one I have right now." So he connected me, and I hired her, and immediately all of the reimbursements I was getting went up about 20%. And
Wow.
she's now been with me for about 5 years. And she's literally made me hundreds of thousands of dollars just from having a one-to-one. I was connected to her. So it's just incredible.
You've mentioned one-to-ones a couple of times, and we've talked about this in previous podcasts. I'll look up the podcast number, or maybe we can put the link in here. There's a direct link between people who do regular one-to-ones and people who don't. And a direct link for increased business and referrals. So I'm glad that you're talking about that, because I think it's really powerful. Diverse cross-industry support. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so this, there's a story here. Recently, it was in September, my wife launched a Medi Spa, and we hired the event planner in our BNI group to do our grand opening. And she did an incredible job, and we had about 100 local business owners come through, and about half of them were from BNI, and the other half were from the local chamber. And it was just an incredible group celebrating community, that wouldn't have been possible without BNI. And then the following month, my wife had a small business Saturday, and we had several of the members in our BNI group, featuring their products and services, and it just went off really well. And it was all just because of BNI. We couldn't have done this without BNI, and it just really illustrates this, diverse cross-industry support that is possible in BNI.
Did you say it was done at her office or your office?
Yes, it was done at her Medi Spa, which has since merged with my clinic. So we're now in the same office.
That's something I haven't talked about much, if at all, on podcasts. I think it's a great idea to do, a chamber event at your office if it's large enough, or a BNI event at your office if it's large enough, because you not only get a chance to show people what you do, they see where you're at. It's a great connection. So that was a smart move. You had one story that you wanted to share, and we're almost out of time, but you have a story that you wanted to share about the concept of intangibles.
I actually already shared it. It's the story I just shared about finding the medical biller.
Yeah.
And, I just want to say that these intangibles add up to probably $1 million, but they don't necessarily show up in thank you for closed business. But I think that BNI members really need to factor this in, when they're considering membership renewal, as well as new applicants.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, I've seen people who have said, well, I've got these relationships. Those relationships will continue if I leave. And then they leave. And I've seen people come back saying, those relationships didn't continue. And so in one case, the person's position was filled. But when the person who filled it left, the original person came back and said, yeah, I'm not leaving now. There's so much benefit besides referrals that I got out of this. So Ben, any closing thoughts that you have from your years of experience?
I'm just wondering if you have an example of an intangible that you experienced.
Well, there have been so many intangibles, including meeting my late wife through BNI. We were married 31 years. And meeting Jody was a referral that came about because of something I did in BNI. And Jody works for Jack Canfield, and who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. And because of something I did for BNI, I was invited to join TLC, the Transformational Leadership Council, and someone in TLC is a partner with Jack and referred Jody to me. So I've gotten married a couple of times with BNI. That's pretty good.
Wow.
Priscilla, did we ever talk about the gentleman that tried to adopt from the kids in Kyrgyzstan?
No, I don't ever remember that.
Okay, so I don't have enough time to give the whole story. I'll do it on a future one. But a BNI member couldn't stand up and speak in front of people, just could not do it. But he was necessary. He had to go to Kazakhstan to talk to the judge about expediting a adoption for two. I think I know I've been saying boys, but it turns out there are two twin girls. One had a heart condition, and he had to talk to a judge. And he said he was afraid to stand up and talk to his BNI members at first, but he stood in another country and talked to a judge and convinced him to release the children early, and it saved their life. So doesn't get a whole lot better than that. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Well, Ben, your website is portlandclinicofnaturalhealth.com. That's portlandclinicofnaturalhealth.com. I love seeing doctors in BNI. I particularly love seeing naturopathic doctors in BNI. So I wish you continued success in the organization, and I thank you for being part of it.
Thank you so much.
Back to you, Priscilla.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. That was some wonderful information. This podcast is sponsored by MeisnerAudioprograms.com. These audio programs will provide you with the tools and the inspiration to powerfully enhance your BNI experience. So check out the great material that's available to you at MeisnerAudioprograms.com, and then use the promo code IVAN50 for 50% off of everything. All of the proceeds go to the BNI Foundation. Thank you so much for listening. This is Priscilla Rice, and we look forward to having you join us again next week for another exciting episode of the official BNI podcast.